Alrighty, I'm back. Not only do I have a lovely brew next to me, I also have chocolate biscuits. Oh, excuse me. I really need to set up this thing a bit better because I'm constantly looking over this way because the main screen is here. The main screen's here. Also, my secondary screen is there. You can see what I'm watching. You can even see when I'm speaking. So I just need to set up a bit differently because it's a bit irritating. But anyway, let's get back to it.
The sun and moon and our stationary plane. Do not worry. Everything will become clearer as we continue our journey.
Oh, good.
The prevalent evidence of buried infrastructure, coupled with deserted cities and a burgeoning industry of orphans, is just a start.
Oh.
These are all necessary clues, hinting at some kind of cataclysm, but the real story hasn't truly begun yet. The stage had to be set first, and now it is ready. And even if you cannot see it yet, I know you feel it, viewer. The deserted cities, the buried architecture, and orphans all signal a looming darkness. There is a great black cloud in front of us.
Okay.
And I won't lie, we are heading right into the heart of it.
Alright, bro, let's go.
And like I said before,
Let's go.
we do not have much time.
Well, I better get to it then.
Come on. It's time for me to honor my promise and take you back to the future.
Alright. Let's go, buddy.
Water,
Biscuits, let's go.
an inorganic, transparent, and odorless chemical substance that covers 70% of the known Earth's surface. It is the driving life force behind the carbon-based organisms that flourish on our Earth.
What about it's the flood? Maybe it's the flood. Remember the biblical flood?
It borders and separates our lands and collects and solidifies at the inner and outer regions of our flat, stationary realm. God should have sent a message to the inhabitants of Earth and been precise and told them to watch the water, to meditate on its function and natural laws, because in their time, a great deception would be cast over them, like a cold shadow of an unknown, nefarious king. And maybe God did send this message in the form of a flood, but its truth was mythologized and buried, and the lie propagated in spite of it.
Oh. Good old biscuit. I knew it. Calm this down. Okay. I knew it. I knew it the second he started talking about the mud. It was like a worldwide thing. The thing that came to my mind when you think about it is the flood. Whether or not it's how it happened in biblical terms. Yeah, well, we're going to just keep going with this. We're going to keep going.
Resting water does not curve and convex. The natural laws of a resting body of water insist that it takes the exact shape of the container it fills.
Yep.
And always finds and maintains a flat level.
Yes, it does.
Resting water always rests flat.
Yes.
And watching the water when we sit at vantage points, when journeying above in planes, and before we take a sip from our drink, we must remember to never forget this law. Most of us instinctively understand the laws of water, and yet many continue their day-to-day willfully participating in the nonsensical heliocentric hoax. But for us that know that our Earth is not a spinning planet in an infinite vacuum of space, the ones that have studied the sun diligently and realize that it is the sun that is moving and not the Earth, the ones that have plotted the illogical routes of flight paths on a globe model.
Now that is some interesting stuff. Now, that's some interesting stuff because I get hair hanging on my hat somewhere. So my son accommodates my cap collection. God knows where the rest of them are. Probably in the car, my mum's house, wherever. He likes to wear them, and my hat collection's getting fewer and fewer. But anyway, beside the point. No, I've touched onto this, and I looked into this, and I found this very interesting. Very interesting. This is the thing that sort of made me sick when I looked into it, because when you look into it and you start to realize that the flight paths in the southern hemisphere don't make sense, right? They just don't make sense. But when you start to realize that they make perfect sense on the flat Earth map, and I do mean they make perfect sense, you can't argue with it, and that's when you start to feel a bit sick. You do. You start to feel very sick. And it's like, well, okay, shit. Why does that make sense on a flat Earth map? Flat Earth map aren't like flat Earth is all crazy, stupid, crazy arseholes. Flat Earth. Well, you have to remember, folks, is that the so-called governments, which are well known for their ability to tell you the truth, because they are, aren't they? Of course they tell you the truth. Of course you trust and believe in your governments, because they have your best interest at heart, don't they? Crap. They're not even the people in charge. But anyway, I'm going off on a big tangent here, but the thing is that I looked into this just a little bit, and it is absolutely frightening. It's frightening. We're going to look into this. Like, I don't know if it's going to be more in on this video, but we probably will look into this separately in some other videos and so on and so forth. But yeah, let's carry on.
And concluded that the model is incorrect. The ones that know that the laws of density govern the rise and fall of objects and have studied vanishing points. The ones that have forsaken conventional telescopic lenses, pondered rainbows, sundogs, and the stars above us know that we reside within a dome firmament, and there exists water above us. And the ones that understand that our entire enclosed Earth system is governed by electromagnetism, frequency, and vibration that emanates from a central magnetic North Pole. We are the ones that scratch our heads and wonder how on earth we got in this heliocentric mess in the first place. And if meditating on the stars in the water beyond our firmament long enough, and on the electromagnetism, frequencies and vibrations that make them twinkle through so many shades of vibrant colours and geometric patterns, one might perhaps, just perhaps, ask, is there something more to electromagnetism? Something that has been missed or overlooked? Something untold or hidden? Electromagnetism is a fundamental force of Earth. The electromagnetic field takes the form of a torus in which all electromagnetism, frequency and vibration flows. A toroid is a revolving surface that takes the shape of a donut. Toroidal inductors and transformers are central to generating electric energy. There are many ways in which electromagnetism can be produced. We've looked at some before. We know that a magnetic field can produce electricity, and that electricity can produce a magnetic field. It works both ways. Magnetism and electricity are inextricable. It is a dance of polarity. Electric charges either repel or attract each other. Magnetic poles attract or repel one another.
I have to go chill because
for every north pole, there is a corresponding south pole. An electric current passing inside a wire creates a corresponding magnetic field outside of the wire. And an electric current is created in a loop of wire when it is moved toward or away from a magnetic field. Horseshoe magnets are powerful permanent magnets. Due to their shape, in which both magnetic poles are close together.
Ooh, I think I know this is going. You know what? We're gonna play this video through. We are going to see. I think I know exactly where this is going.
A powerful, strong magnetic field is produced. The horseshoe magnet can also function as an electromagnet. The first ever electromagnet was invented in 1824, we are told, and was in the form of a horseshoe magnet. Its power was evident from the beginning. It weighed only 200 grams, but could lift 4 kilograms of iron. The key to the horseshoe magnet's power is the placement of its poles. You can see the magnetic field here, represented by the vector lines. If you look closely, you can see the concentration of the magnetic field is greater near the poles of the magnet. Since as far back as we can remember, we have been presented with and entertained ideas of the future.
Yeah.
Not necessarily our future as individuals, but the future of humanity, technology, and society at large. Whether it is in the form of Hollywood movies, you know the ones, the action films, the science fiction sagas, and the animated kind, or literature, music, and art exhibitions. In these we see our technology taken to its limits. Crafts fly, computers live, robots help out, holographic screens decorate every room. Cities continue to grow upward into dominating skylines. Some can teleport, and space travel is now possible and the accepted norm. Outside of fiction, we also have sobering documentaries telling us where we are heading, usually featuring narration by an old man, lamenting the unstoppable path we are on.
Yeah.
It's all very serious. We are destroying our planet, the only one we have. And we have political parties, non-governmental organizations, and the trusted voices and scientific, award-winning geniuses sharing similar messages. And really, when you look closer at both the fiction and the alleged facts, They all share the same underlying premise and principles. We are becoming so technologically advanced that the planet we reside on is no longer enough, or can no longer sustain our activity. The advanced artificial intelligence systems, the flying crafts, the breakthroughs in cloning and medical beds mean that the natural world has suffered as a consequence. And depending on the type of genre you are entertaining, the solution is either 1. For humanity to perish as a result, perhaps destroyed by the very artificial intelligence systems it created in the first place, or perhaps by a natural, lung-choking virus that has mutated and is sweeping the earth to restore natural balance.
It's a good movie, that.
Or 2, for humans to say goodbye to their lonely little blue
Amazing movie,
ball
Interstellar.
and head off into space in search of a new home. But you see, there is no globular planet, and there is no space, and therefore all visions of the future are purely fictional, and not particularly innocent. What we don't see emphasized in these visions of the future, however, is the potential of electromagnetism to transform all human life, technology, and society. Which is strange when you consider that all life, and the Earth itself, is impossible without electromagnetism. Why wouldn't visionaries want to explore this in more detail? Could it be that they are not allowed to? Could it be that they are afraid of something? Afraid of us connecting one too many dots, perhaps?
Yep. Yes.
And
absolutely.
again, horseshoe magnets can act as powerful electromagnets. If a civilization was to advance technologically through the use of electromagnetism, then the horseshoe magnet would certainly have a tremendous role to play in that development.
I've just got another chill. I've got it.
Yes.
I know where it's going, I
It
think.
certainly would. And it certainly did. The horseshoe magnet. The Arc de Triomphe.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
One of the most powerful electromagnets
I knew
ever
it. I knew it.
constructed.
Look at it. Look at it. How can you not? It literally is an electronic grid. An electronic grid system is something. Look at it. It is literally a motherboard. Look at it, man. Wow. Wow. They're power stations. They are legit power stations. Look, they are legit power stations. This shit's great. I knew some deep rabbit hole stuff were going on. They are legit power stations. Look at that. I knew it. I knew it, man. These structures are literally in the area where I live. we are definitely going to have a closer look at these things. Yep. Oh. Oh. It's exciting, isn't it? It's legit exciting. I mean, there's no words. I'm fumbling over my words. There is legit buildings there. There's literally buildings. I can open my goddamn door and there are buildings there. Further down the road, there is a I would say it's a 5-minute drive, if that. There is a structure. Like I'm going to have to show you folks. I'm gonna have to do like a live or something, or whatever, and we're gonna just go and we're just gonna have a look at these things, and we're gonna try and see if we can get inside some of these things as well, and take a look. This is crazy because they are legit antennas. They are literally antennas. And I get what he's saying. Like the horseshoe magnet. And if you look at it from top down, it is literally like a motherboard. It is like a motherboard. It is like a power station. Shit. Oh, tell us more.
Welcome to the future. Except it's the past. The future came and went, and we missed it.
Sorry, I've got to pause again. Like, what a shame. What a tragedy. It. It's just we're surrounded by these buildings, these structures, and we literally have no idea, what they are, and we're just told X, Y, Z. That we just are. We're just told, oh, this building X, and it was built by Y and Z. It's just we're just told that, and because, and I think just because the way it is now, and it has been for a very long time, that we are literally indoctrinated, and we are told we must obey authority and listen to authority, and authority tells us the truth. Why would they lie? And all this kind of stuff. So we just literally accept it and crack on with our day, with our very busy day. What a shame. What an utter shame. Wow. I mean, this is some. Whew, whew, this is some stuff. I love it. I love it, man. I mean, we're not even close. We're not even close to finishing this stuff. Back to it.
The magnificent architecture we see throughout our realm, in which the official liars and controllers of our world have termed historicist, neoclassical, Renaissance, Gothic, and so on, all belong to one whole unified civilization. A civilization so developed they had harnessed the power of electromagnetism to such a high degree that they not only built these huge structures, but also crafted them with utter finesse and beauty. A celebration of their own technological advancement. The structures were designed with the sole intention of harvesting and generating electromagnetic energy and distributing it across the world.
Look, you can
Their
see
cities, towns, an entire way of life ran and depended on the use of free, clean, and powerful electromagnetic energy. The energy was harnessed and collected from the ionosphere above our heads through the use of antennas, spires, domes, and towers. All the impossible structures we see today have been repurposed and rebranded by our controllers and the citizens of the 19th century. This is not a church. This is not a mosque. This is not a castle. And this is not a government building. These are generators, powerful and gargantuous. They would collect and generate the electromagnetic energy, which was then stored in huge power stations and distributed and redirected by sophisticated, advanced structures, one of which is the huge electromagnet, or what we've come to know as triumphal arches. The energy was stored in batteries and capacitors, such as towers and obelisks. All cities were constructed across our realm in the form of one big, interconnected power grid, much like a huge computer motherboard.
I knew it. I knew it. It is exactly like a motherboard.
I already know what you're thinking. What? He's finally lost it. He had us with flat earth, but this is just too much. I know. The backup programming is kicking in. But before you turn away to leave and cast aside your muddy boots, let me show you how it worked. As you know, we live on a flat stationary plane. At the center is a source of magnetism at the North Pole, and directly above this is Polaris, fixed at the central and highest point of a wondrous crystalline dome firmament. Beneath the firmament, different layers of atmosphere exist at different heights. The ionosphere starts at about 30 miles above Earth. It includes the thermosphere and the mesosphere. The ionosphere is an electrical atmosphere that is ionized by the sun's electromagnetism. It also forms the inner edge of the magnetosphere. I know, a lot of big words and abstract concepts, but you are familiar with this process and have been witness to it every day for the entirety of your lives. As you can see, the vials here contain molecular gases that are present in the atmosphere above us. When an electromagnetic source, such as a Tesla coil, is applied within close proximity of these gases, the coil's magnetic field ionizes or charges these gases and the result is phosphorescent plasma. The gases become colorized. This is why our sky is primarily blue, because the sun's electromagnetic presence ionizes the atmosphere, and the result is colored plasma. When the sun is entering or exiting our region, or what the liars of the world call sunrise and sunset, we see a variety of color gradients due to its distance from the ionosphere above us. When the sun is no longer journeying above our region, the sky loses its color and we can see the stars in the firmament beyond. Although the official scientists designate the ionosphere as an atmospheric layer, it is actually an ethereal layer. Ether is the fabric or element that carries electromagnetism. It connects everything in our realm. It is the fabric that makes the sun and moon and their concentric journey above our disk possible in the first place. Ether is the mysterious fifth element. It connects everything electromagnetically through vibrational energy. It is the glue, the web, the driving force behind absolutely everything. The four other elements, air, fire, water, and earth, only exist because of the ether. They are expressions of ether's vibrations. Cymatics is a good example of ether's presence. The frequencies fed through the Chladni plate make the sand or salt form precise and complex geometric shapes.
The stars.
The higher the frequency, the more complex the geometric pattern. But what is the conduit that takes the frequency's vibrations and allows the sand to take such shape? That is the ether at work. That's why we see fruits and vegetables that closely resemble cymatic patterns. It is the ether at work. All matter is ethereal, and the shape and form of that matter are different expressions of the ether, determined by frequency and vibration. Ether is the bridge between electromagnetic frequency and vibrational energy and the form of matter itself. You could call it the Holy Spirit of God. The historical and scientific discourse of ether is a deliberately manipulated one. The enemy introduced the truth only to discredit and subsequently bury it. Some of the alleged figures of the past have written on ether. The so-called Aristotle called it the fifth element. James Clerk Maxwell, the so-called father of electromagnetism, spoke of the ether, stating, "In several parts of this treatise, an attempt has been made to explain electromagnetic phenomena by means of mechanical action, transmitted from one body to another by means of a medium occupying the space between them. The undulatory theory of light also assumes the existence of a medium. We have now to show that the properties of the electromagnetic medium are identical with those of the luminiferous medium. The medium he refers to here is the ether. Albert Einstein and others successfully solidified the heliocentric model through fraudulent schools of scientific thought. But even Einstein could not deny the presence of ether. According to the general theory of relativity, space is endowed with physical qualities. In this sense, therefore, there exists an ether. According to the general theory of relativity, space without ether is unthinkable. For in such space there would not only be no propagation of light, but also no possibility of existence for the standards of space and time, measuring rods and clocks, nor therefore any space-time intervals in the physical sense. Even contemporary scientists, under the spell of heliocentrism, admit it is nonsensical to deny ether's existence. Today, the vacuum is recognized as a rich physical medium. A general theory of the vacuum is thus a theory of everything, a universal theory. It would be appropriate to call the vacuum ether once again. Returning to the ethereal ionosphere. As I said, this layer of ether above our heads is a constant sea of electromagnetism, and is responsible for the colored plasma above that we call the sky. The source of its electromagnetism is the sun. It is because of this ionized layer that we get ionospheric lightning in the form of sprites, which in turn influence the thunderstorms below. An ion is a particle, atom, or molecule with a net electrical charge. Electricity is a continuous flow of ions. The electrolytes in our body are ionized. Everything is connected by electromagnetism and the ether. Our highly developed and sophisticated historical ancestors not only understood the workings of the ionosphere and the ether, but they had developed methods to masterfully harvest it as a fuel to power the entire Earth. And while the exact process by which they were able to extract the ether is deliberately hidden from us and remains unknown, the structural remains that humanity has since repurposed and reused as architecture offer us many clues as to how it all worked. The evidence is everywhere for those with eyes to see, and once you see it, it becomes so glaringly obvious that you'll kick yourself for never noticing in the first place. The matter is very complex, and it will take time to really flesh out. So for now, let's have a closer look at some of these structures, and I will introduce some basic concepts. As we continue our journey, we will explore everything in more detail.
I need to open a window.
We see them everywhere. On top of all these magnificent structures, towers, spires, and pinnacles that rise into piercing antennas. It was through these complex antennas that the ether was harvested. You see, after the Great Reset of the 1800s, the enemy fractured the old world's unified understanding of God and created multiple religions to try and hide God and justify the existence of such grand and beautiful technological structures. And I know this may trigger some people, but stay with me, I will not let you down. But for now, it is critical to understand that a lot of the religious icons that adorn and make up these antennas were never indicators of different religions in.
Wow. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh my god. Right. It's 1 o'clock in the morning for me. I don't know how long this is gonna take me to get through this. I mean, we're just I think I've done overall like two something hours. It's I mean, yeah, I could push it until 3 or 4 o'clock this morning, but again, you know, um duties. I have responsibilities, so it's this can take me a few more days to get through this, but this is absolutely mind-boggling. And once all this is done, we've got another video to get through. We've got some more stuff to get through. Eventually, I'll be doing lives so we can all watch this, in like real time, and we'll go out and we will look at these buildings locally where I am. We'll look at these buildings and we'll go further afield and we'll just see if we can sneak into some of these buildings. We can sort of get a closer look at some of this stuff. So it'll be interesting. But as for now, um, it's going to be good night from me, and we will pick this up. Um, we'll pick this up tomorrow, just making a note of the time, what it is on the video. Right. I'm going to have some crazy ass streams tonight. Right. I will catch you all probably, I don't know, 7 o'clock this morning, maybe. Maybe in about 5, 6 hours after I get some sleep. So, yeah. Catch you in a bit. God.